There's no denying it anymore. We're in a climate crisis. And whether it's fossil fuels, deforestation or burping cows, the culprit is us. Today, there's news of massive ice losses in Greenland that can't be reversed, which will lift sea levels 30 centimetres. A recent parliamentary commission warned such a rise would mean we'd see our 100-year storm in 2013 every year. The year's weather reports have been even scarier, showing wildfires, drought, floods and typhoons across the globe. It can all get pretty overwhelming, and it's hard to feel like we can do anything to change it. But the head of the climate change mitigation team, Project Drawdown, Jonathan Foley, reckons there are reasons to be optimistic, and the decisions we make now might even lead to a healthier, safer world. All right, let's get some of this optimism. Dr. Jonathan Foley is Project Drawdown's Executive Director. And Jonathan, the world is supposed to get to net zero emissions by the year 2050. What are our chances of hitting that target?
Well, it's very hard in the year 2022 to make any meaningful predictions of what's going to happen in 2050, of course. But the good news is a lot of countries, between 20 and 30 big nations around the world, including the United States and the UK, have hit their peak emissions and are going down. We're not going down fast enough yet, but we're beginning to see some of the curves bend in the right direction for the first time. And I've been working on climate change for over 3 decades. And almost all that time, I was extremely pessimistic, but finally we're starting to see a few curves bend in the right direction, including emissions peaking in some places, the unveiling of very cheap renewable energy sources like solar and wind, which are now cheaper than fossil fuels in most of the world, and things like heat pumps, electric vehicles, and others becoming mainstream for the first time. Around the same idea, we're seeing a lot of governments and private sector actors really put billions of dollars into climate solutions.
Sounds pretty good. And then we get a news story like today about the melting ice caps. Instead of feeling helpless about the future, what's the trick to becoming a climate optimist like you?
Well, when I was a child, a lot of the things I was told were impossible, like the idea of apartheid ending in South Africa, or the end of the Cold War, or that the United States could elect a black president, or that gay marriage would be legal across much of the world. Those were not just impossible. They were like, you couldn't even imagine those kinds of things when I was a child. But it turns out all of those predictions were wrong. They weren't only possible, they were inevitable that this would happen. And so when people tell me, oh, we can't stop climate change, I look at them and say, oh, yeah, it's not, bring it on. Let's see. Because I actually think that we can stop climate change because we have all the solutions we need right now.
I'm loving this optimism, Jonathan. You're really putting a smile on my face. Everything we're doing is working. We can vote with our wallets too, right?
Well, absolutely. I like to encourage people to think about the personal actions we can take to help address climate change. I don't think of it as like a guilt trip, but more of a power trip, if you will, about how we can make a difference. And one of those ways is how we invest our own savings, whether it's retirement savings, where our bank accounts are held, and so on. Why do we want to give money to interests that then fund fossil fuel companies, for example? Things that are kind of hurting the planet and all the rest of us. Maybe we could put our money elsewhere and put it into places that could help the planet and help other people, and put our money to work in ways that are meaningful and good for us financially as well.
I mean, it's always good for people to have role models. Are you excited to see the young activists like Greta Thunberg coming up?
Well, I think so. It's always great to see, old climate activists and the middle-aged climate activist and now the young kind of climate activist really kind of pass the baton from one generation to the other. But it's not just about activism. It's about being active. We have a saying at Project Drawdown that every job is a climate job now, and that we can find ways to build healthy communities, have a prosperous economy, address issues around equity and justice that have been, ignored for far too long, and have a healthy planet to pass on to future generations. We not only can do all those things, we really must do all those things if we really want to thrive.
OK, Jonathan, whatever you say, I will be doing. Thank you so much for chatting to us tonight.
Thank you, too.
Well, kia ora, welcome along to the project. Look, Nathan Ranere is here.
Oh, what a day. What a day to be here on a day when I find I can use plastic straws again.
Is that the major problem in your life?
Yeah, I just want to... I mean, turtles are nice, but I just got to the bit there and I'm finding out if we've hit the bit where it's OK to use plastic straws again, I'm so happy.
I don't know that is what he was saying, just to be
That's
clear.
That's what I heard.
I think with any job that you're doing, anything you're trying to achieve, when you hear that what you're doing is working, for me personally, that makes me want to try harder rather than stopping.
Because
I feel like
some people will worry that if we run an interview like this, that everyone will think, oh, the job's done, we don't need to worry about it.
no, it's what we're doing is working. Let's keep doing it.
Motivating.
Yeah, because sometimes you watch the news and you see these major weather events and this devastating stuff and it can feel paralysing. You think, what's the point in doing my bit? But I love him.